Hontoma, Sansa, and some more kind in Nano, and young one some, and not on the bar court. A beam, at the back one who hear ye pan, acquire your fast wa. Ye do fee a goo a ye Jane Mansa home, Kekan and some bebre wa bontain at the fan home. Nansu and ne ye bar court. Sansa minya ya sabu sa musa a camia quaquia say, a Jane Mansa and a monisano. Nano crack, usha. A year of Penias, you don't get yes more kaya. Also, they are not in court to challenge the validity of the election. There's a only court. Say, yeah, but 38,622 polling stations. No, almost assembly account there be. Name almost say, a mera a share J. Mensa, so on a Jumano. Omunim say J. Mensa, I say Jumana. So for them, they are in court only to challenge the constitutional duty imposed on J. Mensa. And a sub home to my ABM. Omo frebo for case be wrong aggregation of vote, any vote pardon. O share omo petition one, omo cancer 5,662. Eba court, krata omo deba two animu ayo penye sudin ketia, was 4,693. And no crano sha, and Tobias akopim ho ye hun ye ka, ye die tipim ha, ye die tia kopim ha. Nene, assembly tofen nyina no, any openi justice ya wapo. And some fois or the pimpim a year open year shooting ketia. Obusan in some 9. Near the kind or say what dance dia or the court no. Who see unima de crow. Now why na this and some goose a pen drive abefo and a pen drive ye eso. When Timmy Anka or say an inco for being a goose no cry when young one here a bra manum near the ade nano elfum fumbo. Near Tosumi no our penny justice ya apobusai. Also okay. Now why we hear coalition because Mbakaya a young fidie so almost make come menina boom. Once boom contano. Yes, Omode openi Joma Kojina so make come bibia boom. Now okay, more boom contano so no. Say na munya yes a total valid vote cast. Openi esedun ketia se no so a onim. Ne toso miensa o se okay. Ene mo musumu dia musa ye no. And yes, I wish share a petitioner, a omampeni dada mahama. And also a massa na mwanso independently. Mukoleti no, muya ya, and also noa, bobo, when Timanya wants a manka, sanse omunye. Near Tosun 9, I bubu or my pray. I cry say, okay. And yes, second respondent, I wouldn't have been koti. And you also when you so be say, a man say no nya intina went to me and cross 50% plus 1. And also you was open years, you didn't get yes, I say. Form a year Nanado Danko Kufa, the second respondent. And must say, and according to Mum Coalition, Onyaya, and also Bobo, Openias, you didn't get yes, and also Unim. And Tenumuan, ja, Yade, Arawa, as the same, and no sorry or call away. At the deep pefe say, and some of course one, Munina Monitia, where dear Muhunia Koso, a Chagu, Ubienim. Yamia Duma court at the Ashe, Ochina, say Ibishia. You better penny for us, and then one your general secretary, I say, a year the most general, now Muaha, John Bodu, a chairman, or no star witness, or no age name man another Danko Kufa, the chairman Macmenuaha, and a beam, we have a director of elections. On so can you get a crack chairman can you? You better a lawyer for us of Akutampa and our Cheso him day. Frank Davis, Abom Homodane, lawyer Adodapa, lawyer Yao Opon. Lawyer Sheila Menkapremo, lawyer Victoria Bath, lawyer Dr. Ernesto Usudapa, lawyer Kwaku Esrifi, and lawyer Ochrejekum. Anna, a year almost so much a BBA Somaye, lawyer Keamua Munina Kahon, head of research. Yamin Shira Omunina, Yami Admochina, Yebesain, Asia, Ebim. Lawyer Nana Juanso, our Hase, Yamishamu.
Okay, should I start?
Yes, please.
Okay, thank you. Thank you very much and good afternoon. Let me start by saying that we are extremely satisfied with the testimony given by our General Secretary today. In fact, nothing that he has said undermines our case. Indeed, everything he said goes to point points to the fact that we are entitled to the declarations that we are seeking. But several interesting things stood out today. Let me start with the video. The video that they sought to show to try and dent the credibility of the General Secretary didn't happen as they thought it would. In the end, his credibility rather soared. If you watch the video, and I'm sure you all watched it, it is clear from the video that he never said at any point in time that the petitioner had won the elections. In fact, what he did were projections, and rightly so. He stated that based on the 141 parliamentary seats that we had won, the projection was that we would win the presidential slot as well. Those were projections he made. And so they were unable to show from the video that the general said what it is they were trying to prove. So of course they flopped in that regard. The other thing that came out clearly was that there were ever-changing figures from the general's testimony. Now, from their own cross-examination, they described these ever-changing figures as manifestly erroneous. We had the 9th December figures of 13,434,574, 10th December 13,119,460. Then in their paragraph 24 of their answer, that's the first respondent's answer, she talks about 13,121,111. Yet again, today, there were corrections made. And we saw that from the cross-examination on AGYEMAN South. On the face of that, their own exhibit, it showed 97,227. But when they did the tally, or the collation, it was 99,436. So when we make the point that based on their own declarations, that's the EC's own declarations, there are errors, we are right. And it has been proven by the cross-examination that they conducted that we do not know what the figures are. Based on her own declaration, nobody got more than 50%. And the declaration I'm talking about is the 9th of December declaration. Also important is the issue of padding. They cross-examined the general on the issue of padding. And you can sense from the cross-examination that they admit that there was padding. What they tried to portray was that on a pen drive, there was an indication that there was also padding in favor of the NDC. Now, if they admit that there was padding, then obviously we are dealing with a very flawed election. That is the point, and they admit it. It's a clear admission of a flawed election. And he also made the point that what we attached in terms of padding were only samples. Only samples. So you can't take a sample and deduct it from a whole or an absolute number and get any results, because that sample is simply what it is, a sample. In the end, there were also questions from the bench about our own figures, but I think we need to make it clear, and it's been made clear over and over again. We are here challenging the EC on its own figures. Its own figures. What are those figures? There's the 9th of December, there's the 10th of December so-called correction, and there's also the figure in their paragraph 24. And then today we realize that even in some of the constituencies, and they themselves brought out the example, AGYEMAN South, there are errors. So if you ask us, what are our own figures? How are we going to get our own figures based on all these flawed sheets and different figures? And so we stand by what we are saying, that based on her own declaration, nobody got more than 50%. So today we are happy with the cross-examination of the general. We are happy with the results, and we think that our case was made clearly in the court today. So if there are any questions.
Yes. Sisters.
Yes, the interest in the alternative figures, as the petitioner would have or should have brought to court, maybe it's not a matter of interest to only the bench. A lot of us journalists followed the election keenly, and we know that on all sides, the NPP, the NDC, the CPP, each political party had, call it a collation center or a tabulation center, whatever the name was. But each political party was able to, following the reports from their representatives at the polling stations, tabulate the figures, and at the end was able to tell whether or not they were leading, they were behind, whatever the case may have been. Is it the case that based on the tabulation that the NDC did of the election results, it is not possible for the petitioner to tell us some figures which probably directly contradict the figures that the EC chairperson announced on the 9th of December?
I mean, that's a good question, but having regard to the case we have even brought to the court, I don't even think it's necessary. They themselves have different contradicting figures. Why do you need another one from us? They are different contradicting figures. And that is the point we are making, that the EC themselves, what are the figures?
Yeah, any other? Akabile?
On the point about the alleged vote pardon, I just wanted to find out, because we heard General saying sample. I mean, what is the full range of this vote pardon that the petitioner's team detected? And if indeed you detected that full range, should you rather not be making the case that those votes be annulled? And the other one relates to General's point about the first time he's seen the contents of a pen drive. If you could clarify that point for us as well.
Okay, I think let me start with the issue of the pen drive. The information on the pen drive was printed for the general. It was printed for him, so he saw the hard copy. He didn't actually see the pen drive, you know. And from what I could see on the screen, they were actually reading from the names of the folders, which he would not have. He would have the printed document, because of interest to him was the information on in the document and not the names of the folders. So that is how it is explained that way. It's not to say he didn't know what was in the folders, but what they read was based on the names of the folders. I hope that is clear to you. Then the other question was what?
The vote pardon. Yeah.
What is
more?
That's
not fundamental to that.
Because you kept saying sample, and the sample came to 4,000 in terms of General's witness statement and about 5,000 in terms of the petitioner's statement. The full range that you discovered in your analysis, how many votes are we looking at, and why are you not making a request with evidence to have those votes annulled instead of relying on the declaration of December 9?
Well, that is the choice that we made, that we will challenge the declaration of December 9. That is the choice that we made. We brought samples to show how flawed the election was, but our choice was to challenge the very declaration of December 9.
Okay, we can do the P now.
Yep.
Is that okay?
Okay. Okay. Yo, abusianfo, yebeda mo asibiem se masanso ajebre se mo betie yen. And then yeba court no te say the lawyer penny former attorney general honorable Marita Bapia opon aka no. Ade ba ko a lawyer ma the second respondent say obey in his cross-examination of our witness General Mosquito ne say obey ma we are seeing na court na hu say and someone yeto aba ni wie ono ne NDC mpanyimfo bi e ka ne ho e de tu dwa e fa abato ne sunsuanso ho no enye no no de aba court na wasesa na no enti in conclusion no onye no kwafo na mo amohwe video oboye no na mutie anu yi a general edema no a bibia kire general ankasa de wanka no in any press conference say ya coalition on the basis of your coalition no Joma Marine Nensem woka ye ni nyina kire say your results I kire say NDC arena parliamentary seats about 141 which he still stands by, and on the basis of that anyhow in the past the trend has been, okay, I said John Dramani Mahama will have the comfort he needs in parliament to govern. Now, Osansu Chiremu say, Sempo, NDC Mpenyufua, Ahodwa, your boy, your numwa sem, to say some agent feel to kono. Eka say, na John Mahama wenia. Enya nunti ni abakot. Ya decide say, Enfa honi ye figures are ye white chese ye ni arene no. Ye be yusu easy for nankasa figures. Na ya show court and they say, Sempo ya de figures ne to nche ne yusu omwankasa figures mpo a Omampenye Kufuado, the second respondent, did not get more than 50% of the total valid votes cast per the 9th December declaration, which is the only declaration of the 2020 presidential election results. Ti yehuni se anu year General Mosquito de Maomono it settles this issue. So then I can we know about court abeka. Yes, say ya the figures in the crowd to nche ne fa one kasa wo figures na Omampenye Kufuado enya more than 50% of the total valid votes cast, and that is a solid case. Number 2, and then more may sure say more cross examination no na mu mu bebre mu you confused say den na ato about Ghana what different versions of the results of that election yani fi ye hu bi da say ato abawie na on 9th December they said the Honorable Attorney General Chiremu no say total valid votes 13,434,574. On 10th December, no more the press release about almost the total valid votes, 13,119,460. Weeks after, Ghana for you now just a figure not too much, you know. Yet the mobile quarter, no master so mano. Almost your figure no 13,121,111. All based on 274 constituency results. How is it possible? Say about to you benya different figures. To what with your cross examination, you know, I say you're based on assumption. Okay, you find the results in India, you find the results in India. And the General Mosquito Chiremu say about to na year to no, so total valid votes ma would ya various candidates. And until the figures cannot be changing. That's simple. Ufri say would the figure be a decay to draw. Now from so wo and I'm saying a number nusu soon fidia a number nusu everything. And was all the agents of the presidential candidates near Yatna say near the necessary corrections. One share isumu now one for figures are any basis on valid votes cast and mabonting. And if we say Nemunina Mubi or Maka say figures need be a slip, Nedia Kekahon. Say yes slip, say yes slip, no. Your best say, Ochina, Yenina, your mom proceedings. Yen say, Dole. The cross-examination of the returning officer of the presidential election, Madam Jimensano, ebe to miabaso. Na ya she, whether say this claim say a mere slip and a mere mistake, can stand the test of law. They are also me and son, Honorable former Attorney General Kan Wasem, the issue of pardon. Nene de ya tene court on the Huadrian. Pardon no as a children say. Woyura Johnson Esidun Ketia Adan Secreta or the Abacot. Any Ura Mahama petition or the Abacot no. Yet the 26 constituency results by Trese. Baby or Mampenye Kufuadunya and Mad Ebia a Pemno. Yet the bear or ha a canho. In the name Mano, yet the Biaka Canahua, and Yagana for the two Sabanemano. Easy official been at the pen. Sebio, a be a diaka, and then your friend pardon. No? And notice I will beg you to say, oh, okay, I know the Esa. I was your for say, one in poor, the children say, talking about credibility, if the cross-examination of General Mosquito is about credibility, so kind cry na one kind cry. Even if you admit, say, Obo Krono the vote by Kokraka or Mampenyo Kufuado de Hua, what credibility do you have? Not to talk of close to 5,000 votes. In 2012, some people for their dance here by Kokra by court. Safari Ede one vote to crack a John Mama de Hua, come back at you, sir, in the Anya Chrono. Inti Wabo Chrono near Chewa was with you, sir. And no nanchen, no person was answering, say, oh, G Mensa. Te said, yeah, we are money becard, or Mampenyo Kufuado de Hona, or we are Bisu Majon Mahama. We are somewhere was here, Shannon. Because this is the first time. This is the first time. Ewa Ghana bako semua. Ya tu abewe. Na de wato so mienu ne say. Ye wie biama de wedi first. De wedi first no so see ye wie biama de wato so mienu. What does it mean? It means that abato no sunsanso a ye de atudwa no is flawed. Because obi ase ye wiem. De ato so biem. The issue of pen drive ho asem. Former Attorney General Achirim. Nipa bebre na ye petition we hu adwuma. Exhibits bebre ye de aka petition ne ye wura se dun ketia dan secretary ye friend witness statement no ho aba court. Answer ye wura se dun ketia de ma court no should let everybody know that this is an honest witness who only speak to matters within his personal knowledge. Sa exhibit no e kasa about pardon about why ye di bia keka ke come Mampenyo Kufuado ma ho. Yeah, the soft copy of good pen drive so. And yeah, the hard copy no so auto file no so. General Mosquito say hard copy na me hwe. Pen drive na dey maintain hwe. Ye free say boni bi anim. In any case, at the crocro mo person ko mo be kire no no. O ma ntinya pointing on the screen. We didn't see anything on the screen kire say John Mahama de ni ana we ni. So and also you're very satisfied with the answer General Ademai. And again, this issue about mo say ye wi abani mu a Moamu figures when Moamu total valid votes ye den. Moamu ma mo se John Mahama nya ye den. Moamu ma mo se Mampenyo Kufuado nya ye den. That question no. Ye wura se no ketie yi ano a. Ene ye maame Attorney General so akyerechim. De ye kan se ya ma court se ye figures a ye collation ye nya ye no eno ho manso ne ye betwen. Ye ba court se 1992 constitution na power penyimu bia ono ne yeto Mampenya abato awie a owa asudie se obobo wabobo awie wasanso pass sa declaration into law abeye mra CI 135 enti ya fa nanum asem ono ani figures no gina so aka se declaration ni dia and your Mampenya Kufuado anya more than 50%. Ye figures no emamu ho na nya bia de na honorable Attorney General kan se me de be batwi ka se mu ade o kan se ade so what will bet me our results? I just okay 275 constituency summaries or carbon copy. And now I'll back a carbon mania with total valid votes. Now they are with divisions. And on I back a carbon one who John Mahama and your Mampenyo Kufuado ma. Sa summaries you see, and no name who you court I say. Figures now also no baby you're wrong. Techiman South to the okay carbon amount 99,436 as the total valid votes. And so you say 97,227. It is a pay figures in the. How do you know which one is correct and which one to use? And there are several of such examples. And until a general car say, and possible. So one casa will bet me any accurate collation of your own. No when any accurate figures because election is flawed. I was for the Ebeka to win say. Yenia so adansia ya twetwe for penyi General Mosquito wedding wadaka nim ya sempa ya dia babeto court na nim no ye free say it has not been undermined in any way and the credibility of our witness has not been undermined in any way. Ye bestra Ghana for nyina mo pese mu hu 2020 presidential election no abato ni mu nukre se ochina ene eda ya nim no yenye mre ne yenhwe proceedings ni bi because ya ma meji mensa ono na dwuma ho asem na aba ha yi no obetena daka nim ne yabisa ne nsem na ye nyina ye hu de all kind of cre ye nyina ye hu se abato no sunsanso a ye de atudwa no eye valid and enya valid na ye de anu si na ma yen kase so obi kase General Mosquito can the court to say ya ma court to challenge the validity of the election ne ba court to challenge Jimensa Juma se waya na wonye ya. Ne say ono asam na woka no nte ase. Because Jimensa se what discharging the constitutional duties as returning officer no. The validity of the election ne ka ho bi. So if you are challenging whether Jimensa as the returning officer has performed her constitutional responsibilities, you are also challenging the validity. A declaration was and declaration is part of the election. So if we are challenging the constitutionality and the validity of it, it means we are challenging the validity of the election. Thank you.
And so those were the
Yanu me bibribe Yenya kofa tu yesuo Etu otu esi be mabo Okunkunim kofa ejina ne so akwara padi kokwe hu ededa mana ekire no ye ne adehyiamra kroma dansidi fo mehwe kasemu kira awawade esumu apai mo hire nyakwa pie awawasem nie we die bi si pen ye Neat FM, Yamamwa Kwaba.
Yamamwa Kwaba de ba Neat 100.9. So na yeko Supreme Court ye PM ho cross examination na eko so a eye Johnson esiru ketia tochofo penye edema NDC otena dekam ehyasie na anufiada na waba beto aso a matoto na no anei aba na wieye ehun sem ena yede brewo nyakopon ya adomo a ochira court ebesa akwa setena afanu no mienu nyina so akasa ni nyina no tofa bomu no wote brofo kasa ene akankasa mu wate dia akoso na yenkwai na yene yakasa ye lawyer twene akodua UTV adechensoroma dwemtireni na yene no eni nkomai na oye lawyer despite media o si ya nemu awo Supreme Court o de brano no de nsem no the tofa bomu o de brain lawyer ye mo aha
yeah no
na abomu tesen
o bo de adum ye ho mo so
anyame adoboko wanya nsuo bia no nom kakra de
ensu nem ko fa na hen
enye se wo ken
court wo wa unya nsuo
eya semo
ukonum nsuo ansuo ya no asore
aha
no mu nsuo bi
se wote kwa sa nsem de bi emmom fa weni so yo na yanye nchiremu enne de course no gbe mu amane
okay you know enne na omampani dada mama the dance ni we na dance yes that parle with that statement you know sani pemi na mo fale with that so mo be dia dance ama ura si dinkatia na Dr. Professor White afina ura si dinkatia we na dance no so ya de mu bi ono an kasana dance ya o de bae na ntoto ano lawyer for umtina ho man na ranko akofo na drug commission omototo faka krebi su beto aso the parents re-examination and so no crowd na question be ba na no so crowd no every lawyer bita no ura go jump e kan say ya montu go bi say asama wo bi say no yan chire mu ya asama e da ho no you back at the dancing and kasa de na o family you born grow on the krata e with that and across the nation ya wo bi da no sama enti you go see your court then no na se wo pe mu nchire mu a on say na de no koye akuntagu bebre e bi say NDC for so kafra e mampani mama na so de call court na o see na electoral commission nkontabu a mo bu ya o mo declaration and o say o mafom na so o mafom na ma correct na cry the declaration no enimu etia article 63(3) of the 1992 constitution and you know every back you toss me no say or say nkonta na mo bu ya no so no o mo ka ba bi say o de settlement south abano ebeka Mampeni Mahama, Mampeni Dada Mahama, Nabahua, and Ma Ubia Enya 50% and more. In Tiono says a Kabaya Baro, then sign and Chuki. It would use a Nepontana if we need and a factor now for Sadia. But I'll stand up with the Bruno Everybody. So Bekaya, now no Fiadana court, sorry no. Now, Ura, Pampa was say, Yeman of Quina, Omebo, video be. Ura sitting Katia, and then NDC penny will be a castle. And Sabidi Runa, a boy, and I'm saying, most familiar. Yeah, we media, Nani,
Yeah.
and then that's also what in Anna of a boy, and of course. And she, somebody see, of course, and then nobody so far.
Okay. Yo. Na yɛhwɛ saa ɛyɛ materials a ebi a yɛmfa nte sɛ video yi a na yɛwura lawyer Kotoampa na ɔpɛ sɛ ɔbɔ na ɔde kyerɛ court no na ɔde fa ho ɛtoto yɛwura sɛ edu nketea no mmerɛ mu no saa practice no ɛyɛ sɛnse bi a nipa no onya ma mmerɛ n'anim no gyina baabi aka biribi na yɛbɛfa deɛ de aba bɛtoto ho ɛde abisa ne nsɛm sɛn ne tie.
Ansana court never quite amount of the basa dance. I never can see the I want to say. You did kind a hoop yana relevant.
Yeah.
A hookah is a winya as a my near bois. I may have known one. I feel it also be say. A idea is it. I just moment. To do a while. Meaning, it's a Brahma pine and my end, and you know, sanity. We don't know where to jump for what's left. The officer of the boss video, no, or buy, no, or the fair coin, and my court man, a fine say, or more. In the court, I did actually, so my court was in Yam Lasso, and on the tomb. So, besides, Brahma pines are.
Okay, Joe. Na wohwe womano nkutaudi omone sentrofo edi ye afanu no mienu nyina ba beka omode fe di kan eye second respondent and nkrofo womo echire mo no womo say inconsistencies bebre e wo yewura se edu nketia ne nsem okamu eti na chese di adanse pefie se ekwakwa se nyina so no enhye da ne mo womo so a eye petitioner no nso nkrofo enso ede ba betu dwa se ensam a womo kan nchiremu a na ewo hunie they are fully satisfied with answers eye Johnson edu nketia ede ma ye bench no so questions a womo bisa no osuma lawyer ni a ekona na eba ne sa na mfoni no etwama wosan ohu bibi sa said ya ne womo kana na yeti
Meso so me hu bebre na madwene so a hu bebre na nso se banchenya e jana kire mean it doesn't you know for you was say it doesn't lie in my mouth.
Yeah.
And never na metre say adanse na odi ye no emu odu say court be di atuma na say court enye entu ka say emu odu a on say ubedi adanse no wi a court no be fa adanse no e no odi be ye gbebu asen na mem person meka bibi e be say me do asem mu nsupọ na makoyi de ehye atemuafo na num e say eno de your own one a bit me actually. Set your car in a classroom and I am classroom. I know the any means I don't know what court.
Okay.
Now, you know, and they into your own for one say a bra, you share court now. PM penny cra, a boy, you me a penny, babu. The casa or casa, a man sign and numbers and so forth. Or his academy.
Yeah.
And can a bra, or yes. Or no can lawyer for no thing. On say, yeah, you know, the way case that, and that's that was now can now church them. Now it's 7 years in our court. No, all signed by being already for. I'm not my family and that. I didn't know come once and see. As my you know, the petitioner and respondents, no, and can carry second respondent. So, my lawyer for your mobile people no say, on better church and some at Grammar sign. On say electoral commission the one yesterday say you, maybe an anchor to say, and can do what the anchor. If it dies, start some more get fresh company, if it dies, my fault.
Okay.
After the bear can be here. If you need be an angel, and I call so I know. If you are the assembly, we don't imagine it. Must be will become powerful. And to say, dear, Metron Transfer.
Okay.
And say, I will call very in the market chair, and so would you in us. The Macoy lawyer in a minimum sad and a dear. Members said, Metron Transfer. And so, when you say, Bibliano, so okay, yeah. And some no more can you know. Now, quite say, Ofa and Contabuna and Selection Commission, you know.
Yes.
Yeah, now, yes, from swap bear moon, correction bear moon in a we need not function. You could see, I say, Dina, when I had down Quaco, and now be doing good. We have cross examination now. Salana, Ura,
Akutampa.
Aha, okay. And no person for Swana, yes, or for some ball, come out, wrestling at the Agitum. Now, so one person by the Atum. I saw a pill so on pool, a court on the bed, aha, said you bit you. You do about bit matter 7 and yagging. And the court to not show us the bound canal. And no big enough to know the FBI. I don't want to put the edition.
Okay. Joe. Lawyer, you better sit your chinano at the end of a coso.
Or China, I do my court, no better transit. Now, dancing or tossing me, a beba.
You're right, Pesa White.
Aha. Yana le bia meka me sese bibia ansesa.
Okay.
Because court to the whole part that we could cry na asembia koba na fe bibia sabat bibia ansesa dia ura pesa white ebeba. Aha na ono no ba na kese ono no ba bi ono no dance ni otoso mi do. It is really dia they can call it record. You better know it.
Okay. Joe.
Usha back on them. There is a real dance in back. You are calling me so near coming and so be at 9 so that is a electoral commission. This is a day. Mom found my witness about and another uncle so reputable. Usha, young daddy, I bet you be answer.
Joe. Lawyer better say we are yenya we na pensuo benom na jiwa home kakra na makwa ko birim. Ye dan say
and the kasa no e ba fom kakra.
Yo, ye dan say na wie. Ye ne lawyer TK despite media ye na musini owo Supreme Court aseni ekoso no ordinary edi akire ye pe brano ode ho ama ne bo ode breye no na wakire mu nti de ekoso no said o kan ye no na semba ko o kan ya mepese ye nyina ye de etu ye tirim esua bibi firim ne se asem die no ekoso no enyina wo wo be send message ana wo aba be frɛ aka wadwen enyina wo wanum so na beka bibi na court no se atemuafo enso a wo muti adwam no wo mo ebe pass the final judgment na wo mo de aye nyina so de pass de bi eye wo mo ankasa na tumi no wo mo nchen ena wo mo de be hwe eno ma aba beto wo manim wo mo de be ye nyina so eti de esi ye no na ye ma wate ase na emom ye nka nkyere wo se je afa pass wo judgment said ya aya na yenim se ana ekoso wo political space ne mo no ti de che se ho ensenkan no meba na baba beje wadwe nkyere badansa na no aposifo ede nkrata ba beto abonten ankrata we ni nyina ne fa eye one constable you'll know na Eugene of National Protection Unit ebeto dwauti e okase ebonu na mene kwabena kra eka se wabo no hutuo ekono ena wie ye de esiye na say na eka also the police administration regrettably reports the death of number 53543 Jane Constable Yolnona Eugene, stationed at the National Protection Unit, who was found dead at his duty point with gunshot wound this morning, 1st February 2021. Investigation has already commenced to unravel the circumstances of his death, with the National CID crime scene and homicide teams having already visited the scene of crime. The family of the police officer has also been informed of the death. The police administration urges all to be sensitive to the bereaved and circumspect in their reportage or commentary on the matter as investigation is ongoing. Signed, Sheila Kesi Abeye Bachman, Mrs. Superintendent of Police, Director, Public Affairs. It's the Etosu we over the weekend. A yadia half commander. Yet see and a ya so dia enonso esi constable or national protection unit ababon hutuo. No and a police for ede ehun chiremu amede abasa wamo ye jujemu ede afa asem no ho nti yempese obi beka bibi beye bibia busuafo asabi ade ato omani ede oya die bi ebebre womo na mom womo guso a womo hwe de nti a eye yenuan ekoba ne saa na de wo bia no womo de ho ama ne bo womo de be mai ti gwe enso eye putupurumu statement every post for so eye aba betudwa enono maye kwa amano so na benyu wadwe nchire na awie 030 22 43540 03022 43540 na 03022 57902 03022 57902 na wonso yenye wadwe nchire ewo eye de ekoso ititiro ewo Supreme Court ye de ho live broadcast ye de bravo neat 100.9
Yanu me bibribe Yenya kofatu yesuo Etuotu esibe mabo Okunkunim kofe jinane so Akwara padi kokwe huwa ededa manamana echireno ne Adeshiembra Kroma dansidi fo meshe kasemu chira wanwade esumu apai mo shrenya kwa pie awonwasem nie we die bi si pen Neat FM ya mamwa kwaba
memo how
Ejo so me bia ante say
nyame adombo ko be ma yiti obo odi en be bia kasa
eye wendi malefuni
okay
me je wa so chia eye jonkuma obono mo de baba kale da mo me chiagu nyina eye na nabi omo bom mo de enu bia ye nyina ye living by aseni kwesi John Tan bam ye hu efutu a go Ghana friendly omo General Secretary ye hu senia wakoyo tuko e mo hu se e po fu se tata de de e to kongo na ho Ghana fu nya omo evidence omo de she wa ku je support omo do wan support se try omo cha Ghana fu se John Tan ma pa de e mu ni ye obiara ni tia se mo je mo ye se na dra mo ku alusu if ya yama na ene omo ko support omo da fe de e sisa ye be je omo support omo do wan support ye be je omo support na support ya ka wan support
Medanse me fa ofofro me ba to me mo ha o
me jo so champion ma very
yes sir and council
overvote. You know, the judges don't go up by Abaka. So for the mama, I didn't create you know, please, and you put in the unity. I am putting them to go mount for you.
Okay.
Mount for you, someone, you know, when you go to contact, I am put around.
Medan see and what you in and now come that same. Beba to my chain. Hey, Memo how, Kafra. Maha.
Yo, Ajimura, Name Aswing, Asamo, I'll get away, Papa.
And council.
The American say, I thought, and pay you for more Ghana, Ajima Papa, Adama, about Ghana. Ajimura, the end can say, Ghana, at least I'm saying, a kaboom, they are to them, and Ghana, a fresh war. I'm a chilpa, oh, so someone, I'm about Ghana. That be beer every year and more. The same president as a conjunction. The beer cost what. I didn't just yet the power. And the Indian would show my guy, I have to make I didn't know what show my guy. Now I be beer no Prantano or honor for a day. What is true? I'm not about every year. I'm not independent. If you are me to make a class, you better I do pro and break Ghana. Media as a particle, Pia, and Sambu Sumama, Abraboya Bono, you never to mark with your name to Topono, and Pasama, the jump of Napacho or my friend.
Medan see and also what you in charge about me, but my hand. Bema, we didn't baby because of free to you.
Pacho, I don't want to
Okay.
No, my dear, Yanko Poncha, when production team, Yanko Poncha, the Juma Mobo, Abo, or my Ghana.
Amen.
Yo, opening, let me say, and this is for after election, they did demonstration in Sabi, and Yamon Yaman, no, we united, former President Mahama, and I hear among. I think to almost the same Omano, say, Oman Kasa, they were winning na. Yeah, challenging the election. The DMC, the young people, and Abigiano, lawyer, Dicky, SSM, come up. And yeah, near NDC, and now NDC, overcome on China, a year there. No more at the end, and on ya. Get this no, Oman in the bono, and on a day, you must see the young people, the Shani ever for.
Medan see and also what you in charge about me, Pacho, Memo, huh? Me Pacho, my hand. Yes, sir.
Hello?
Yes, sir.
Magari.
Yes, sir.
We watch our effort and because you.
Yet, you.
Magari, national treasury. Mr. Bankwaya Boa. Nanabi, any impediment in the show now. Magari. Yes, your General Secretary, NDC. We are doing I work at everything calculation. Maybe share better now. What is our in our quarter? Papa. You can say, yet you are training your train. Quarter. Yet, the baby of a Kodia, only William Pennyform, Brand, yea, and see. And the city of Kayan will be a Wukata, shall cut a yen. Uba Bontino will be Kasa, someone can say. The court ran come on with the say, court ran Casa with the media. Miss Rockett, court, Yatin to work. And you of Casatia court, only now you teach you Baku from Kotram. Your man, that time will be Kata, we are, Kata. I don't have the person with 2 Ghana for 9 years. So when you say another Zanko for the game, Ghana for Abama, and a Ghana for my unit to Ombrabe president. And it will be our best move, but it's only the cost of 1 year, you're getting in Anyam.
Medan see and what you in China with your bad. Your file, Mamisha. Okay. Meba Joma,
Miami, you so many by
Meba, it's you.
Yeah, let's tell a Cathedral of Costa.
Okay.
Mamicha, lawyer, young man, and mamma. My Jerry, before can be said, Saudi kind of quarter, down needed, and then who said, San Samaya call, Bojo now. And you're not able to go to the court. We share the Andy to go on the press conference. Someone could catch the Ghana for. And then the Omaka court was so quite different. Just say, we share 2012 pa, 2010 MPP. Yes, we go for 12. We have evidence pa, Kitana, the court. Those have been before. Omotiadiasi. It is not say anyone people and this one son on bay, but I can say the only corner on our Mokana is different. The best friend, Mommy and Yadia said we are correct, and say, oh, Yadina, will be able to say, oh, cannot, I to do it to 2 Janazo. Then they would say, MP before Ghana for my Yakuya and the 2024. Yeah, one Ghana for some Yakuya, my minor. But I'm sure my power.
Mebacho Memaha.
You also have a motor.
Damia Domoko, you too. Okay.
My year, Uber Jumapao, Uba, I know I'm a chief. Gonna Montier, no, be me, my tea. Or China, with General Torchlight. Best thing I could say, Onka, a year, Parisi, any. You for the phone of command to work it any day. One month over the mount. The person also wears the man.
That's it. I catch you on 2 moody.
I got me, you know, you're come by a bomb now. Why do I pen north like a kill my mouth? Now, with my father.
Yo, but that's okay.
Many I am now MPP full by the source, and I hear what about my Paco for that to have a Paco for one cassa show. There were moments I walk away and you. If you are by a tree, may call to a 7 mean can be done. Yeah, man, would mean can be done now. I buy a tree to one cassa over here. Near any who is a step you break to about 2016. Ghana Punya DVA, I think you have a for the city of the people making more back. And now be a good uncle to a man. No, when I make MPC back over 169. Not a star 4 years and not the one to a banner, not the one who's doing a good at the other and Bakufadua. And I am more. Every year, what is you say, Sibio, woman can quarter and full up with the damn moon yet. And for the Casacquay, Sibio to roll back one top your water. Oh, you been the Abraway driver or MPP, or a driver you won't pay. Who back proud my woman, your dear man, Kabuya. Don't go share sound for free part to one of Macasama MPP of my power. I will hope. You can corner to move the same way in the Senate to be the one. What Tina, but some bar, you can't tell for the beer.
Okay. Medase get your man for last one. No, Mebacho Maha.
Yeah, good afternoon.
Yes, sir.
I am on Majima.
Medase.
I mean, I'm ready my farm of Ghana for. The same will be the time I have to do it. I'm not so challenge to Anna. Not because there was in a presidency, Catholic and Omuni and Sampia Magana from Magana for a Sumi and the Diet soon. And I have one price and Yamima Yalene. Now, what's the Audi Ghana for I would say and raise here? Because I didn't be positive here in my finance.
Okay.
Almost time Mahama said, I didn't you have the men, we have the men. Where are the men? They should find somebody almost in the number of advertising 2024. Now, the city are the Ghana for a movie time. We have them, we have them. Where are them?
Medase and a gay so Babacami home. Matthew for any of your form, it will be as a meme to Jumedi, and the bro, made the Mark Jerry or say, AGYEMAN. Maybe sorry, Ola Michael, or the a year, when you entertainment you, or the year coffee, or bed driving. Come on, not the aqua could refuse you, Jamo. I said, Abaquama, a could do Damia do.